In this video, we'll be taking an introductory look at bass guitar and discussing the differences between bass guitar and regular guitar. Now, I'm holding a bass guitar. This is the Session Bass from Arrow, and this is bass guitar at its most basic, yet most effective. Bass guitars typically have 4 strings, some have 5, some have 6, some have as many as 13. This bass has 4, and this is where rock and roll and a lot of music has started, is on a bass guitar just like this. Now, what does a bass guitar do? Well, bass guitar sits in a certain frequency, and it sits in the lower frequency. It usually holds down the foundation of a band or an orchestra or a combo. It pairs well with the drummer to build the foundation of sort of like a house. The bass and drums are the foundation or the bottom. The guitars and keyboards and singers, they're up top for all the fancy decoration. Now, in talking about bass, I am not talking in absolutes. There are absolutely bands that have lead bass players or bass players that do different things. But for this video, we're talking about the foundational purposes of bass guitar. Now, a bass guitar sits in a lower frequency and usually dictates where the song is going to go and how it feels. I'll demonstrate that. I'm going to play the same 3 chords, and I'm going to play them in several different musical styles so you can hear what a bass guitar does and how it sets up a song. Now you can hear in the demonstration as I ran through the gamut how a bass guitar can absolutely change the song. I played the same 3 chords over and over, but you heard how it progressively got busier and busier and busier, and therefore changed the attitude and the vibe of the song. Now, while a bass guitar is doing these things, then the guitar player, the keyboard player, the horns, they can do their thing. So the bass guitar is typically used, like I said before, to lay the foundation of a song. Now, as far as playing the bass guitar, you can play it several different ways. You can play the guitar with your fingers. I typically use the first 2 fingers. You can play it with your thumb. And actually on that I was using my thumb and my forefinger. You can go full thumb though. You can also play with a plectrum or a pick. You can also use your thumb and your fingers for slapping and popping. This instrument is the Session from Arrow, and this design has been used on records and live shows for decades and decades and decades. This is a very traditional design, very straight ahead and very straightforward and useful. This particular instrument has a poplar body. It has a Canadian maple neck, rosewood fingerboard, split humbucking pickups with a volume and tone control for the pickups. Now let's talk about the differences between guitar and bass guitar. Bass guitars are typically longer scale. The strings are thicker. The strings have a wider string spacing. Again, this is typical. This isn't across the board because there are unique instruments out there. The bass guitar moves a lot of air, and bass guitar's frequencies are important for music. They are important for all styles of music to have that bottom end to round out the music. So that's why bass guitar is important. Guitars usually lie at a different frequency in the mix. Guitars usually have solo sections, although bass players are known to solo as well. There are guitar players that play just rhythm and complement what the bass player is doing. There are bass players that play lead as the guitar players are playing rhythm. There are a lot of guitar players out there that also play bass. A lot of bass players that also play guitar. It doesn't matter, it's music. Go have fun. We need more bass players in the world. So go check them out at aeroguitars.com and have fun. We'll see you very soon.